Now, to the all-important local election results in England, which have been coming in all day. The Prime Minister called them disappointing, but then again, he couldn't really call them anything else. The loss of more than 1,000 councillors was at the worst end of the Conservative predictions. For Labour's Sir Keir Starmer, his party's gain of 527 council seats puts them, he claimed, on course for a Labour majority at the next general election. If Sir Keir doesn't get that majority, he could do worse than look to the Lib Dems. They were buoyed up by gaining over 400 councillors. Even their leader, Sir Ed Davies, said he hadn't expected to do so well.
It started when most of us were asleep. Labour taking control of Plymouth Council. And then the Brexit heartland of Stoke. On the eve of the coronation, the Lib Dems seized Windsor and Maidenhead. After dawn, Labour secured Medway for the first time since Blair's heyday, and there was another Lib Dem victory in Dacorum in Hertfordshire. The big story of the night, the collapse in the Tory vote almost everywhere, as symbolised by 22-year-old George Blundell ousting the Tory leader of Windsor's council.
It's clearly a deeply disappointing result for the Conservatives tonight. Our residents have spoken and spoken decisively. But look, what I would say is there are clearly national issues at play.
A Tory minister and MP for Plymouth, which turned red, didn't hide his despair.
We've had a terrible night. It's the worst I've experienced in this role. But look, obviously there are factors at play. There are big local factors at play. And we've got to take this on the chin and come back fighting.
And for the next national poll, the general election, likely in around 16 months, they think they're well set.
You didn't just get it over the line, you blew the doors off. Amazing, amazing set of results. And make no mistake, we are on course for a Labour majority at the next general election.
Greens had their best ever performance, taking a mid-Suffolk council, and they swiped at Starmer.
This vote shows that people feel utterly disillusioned with this government and uninspired by the Labour Party.
8, 7, 6,
and enough time has now passed since the Lib Dems self-harmed by joining the Tory coalition in 2010 for a proper old-fashioned surge.
We've beaten the Conservatives in Bath and in Brentwood, in Hertfordshire and in Hinckley. We're making gains off Labour. The people have sent a huge message. A message so loud that even someone as out of touch as Rishi Sunak can't ignore.
He, delivering bacon rolls to his troops, was rueful about not yet bringing home the bacon for his candidates. Nowhere near.
It's always disappointing to lose hard-working Conservative councillors, their friends, their colleagues, and I'm so grateful to them for everything that they've done.
Silsia Manwa, for Labour, is now the youngest councillor in Thurrock.
Today's a good start. I think we have to see this as a start. We have a lot of work to do, but I hope it's promising. And I think by the time we have the next general election, we'll be in a much better place.
Party time for them in Swindon and all over England. Although ITV's election experts say Starmer has only done enough to be confident Labour would be the largest party after a general election, rather than win an outright working majority. And for the blue team, re-evaluate, regroup, try to recover. Robert Peston, News at 10.
Well, to find out why people have switched their votes away from the Conservatives, two of our political correspondents have spent the day in key areas of change. In a moment, we'll hear from Carl, who has been to both Windsor and Berkhamsted, where there's been a surge in support for the Lib Dems. But first, Harry has been to the Red Wall area of Teesside, where not everything went Labour's way.
In Hartlepool, Labour woke up this morning as the largest party on the council. But talk to voters here and there are signs its Red Wall rebirth is still in its infancy.
To be honest, I don't know that Labour have necessarily provided an alternative, a clear alternative to the Conservative Party. We've been forgotten about for a long time here in the North East, but also Teesside in particular, and people need to start paying attention.
Across town, this coffee shop helps vulnerable locals. The owners say the cost of living struck a chord with voters here.
The people that would maybe have voted the Conservative Party during the COVID vaccine bans are really taking it in the pocket.
2 years ago, Boris Johnson oversaw a by-election win here at the peak of his electoral powers. This morning, the picture was far more gloomy for the Conservatives, and the man who hopes to win back this seat for Labour says the tide is now turning.
You're never going to get every result you want every single time, but the clear messages, Middlesbrough last night, taking back the mayoralty from Andy Preston. So I think we are making that progress and we're building towards a majority at a general election.
When the votes were counted down the road in Stockton, the Conservatives booked the trend and gained 11 seats. The local MP says everything's to play for at the next election.
I'm delighted that we have put some of these incredible local champions into office. I'm not surprised. We earned it. These guys worked incredibly hard.
With the ballot boxes cleared away for now, Labour still has work to do to win back its old North East heartlands. Harry Horton, News at 10, Teesside.
Winning here puts the Lib Dems in charge of filling potholes for the King and emptying bins for Theresa May.
The Lib Dems won 13 seats here in Windsor and Maidenhead and are now doing a victory lap down Eton High Street. And you don't get much more Tory heartland than that.
I would say to lots of Conservative MPs in blue wall seats like Windsor and Maidenhead, watch out, because we're about. And the Conservatives have let people down. They are out of touch.
Theresa May amongst them?
I'll let the voters, the next election, be the judge of that.
But the Tory council leader was unseated by 22-year-old George Blundell, who hadn't even taken today off work.
I think it got to a point where people thought we needed a fresh start, and I guess I might be part of that sort of fresh start, so I'm very happy.
He's not the only one. Just around the M25 in Hertfordshire, the Lib Dems took Decorum Council this afternoon. This is where they launched their assault on the Tories' blue wall, and you can see why.
Very unhappy with the current government, very unhappy, and the two previous Prime Ministers obviously absolute disasters.
I'm a natural Conservative voter, but the mess that they've made of things and Boris and the way they've behaved, I'm very disappointed in.
So you're a first-time Lib Dem voter. Who would you normally have voted for?
Conservative.
The question, of course, is whether Ed Davey is benefiting from some anti-Tory froth or from something stronger that could linger into the next general election. Colin, News at 10, Windsor and Maidenhead.